What's up everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today, as you can see, I have this small thin little laptop on my desk here, but it is the brand new ROG Zephyrus G14, which houses the brand new AMD Ryzen 9 4900HS with an RTX2060 in it. It's insane! And in today's video I'm going to be giving my final verdict on this small little thin laptop here, and also we're gonna run through some benchmarks, and yeah, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about it. So if you're interested in that, keep checking out the video. And if you want to buy this laptop, I'm gonna leave my Amazon link down below in the description section whenever it's going to come available there. I didn't find it at the moment here. But it should be really soon available on Amazon as well. But anyway, just check out some close-up shots of this G14, and then I'm gonna talk a lot more about it.
Resurrected from the dead, hungry for revenge.
So, as you can see, I can't really get my hands off of this. I need this. I need this in my life. But I still need them to do a little bit tweaking here and there. But still, this thing here, the exact model that I have here today, is around 1,500 euros or dollars in the US. Yes, it's more expensive in East Europe than it is in US. Makes sense. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the specifications. So yeah, it does come with an AMD Ryzen 9 4900HS, which is an 8-core 16-thread monster that runs at 3 GHz but boosts up to 4.3 GHz. And for the video card, it does have an RTX2060 in it with 6 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM, and also of course it does support Raytracing. And it does have 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 MHz memory in it. That is accompanied with an M.2 NVMe PCI Express 3.0 1TB drive. And yeah, the screen is a 14-inch non-glare 2560 x 1440p resolution at 60 Hz. And it is also possible to get a 1080p model that runs at 120 Hz. And yeah, that about covers all of these specifications. Now, coming to some ports as well here, we do find two USB Type A's and a USB Type C on the right side of the G14, and on the left side we find the HDMI and a USB Type C with DisplayPort 1.4 power delivery support. There is also a 3.5mm audio jack there and the power block connection. I do have some mixed feelings about the layout here. For instance, why are the only Type A ports on the right side of the laptop where I am most likely to plug my external mouse into, right? And I think it would have been a little bit better to have one Type A port on both sides of the laptop at least. Also, why is the power plug in the middle of the laptop? I feel it should be at the very back end, so to have a much cleaner look when the cable is plugged in. But anyway, the whole total weight of this thing is just about 1.6 kilograms, and together with the very slick design and incredible performance, it is one of my all-time most favorite gaming laptops. I mean, it is this super thin, and it can play the latest and greatest games with ray tracing turned on and still get above 50 frames per second average at 2560 x 1440 resolution. And coming to the resolution, 1440p on 14 inches is like the most perfect resolution ever. The image in games literally looks like everything is in 4K. Super sharp, crispy, clean image, and because it's not 4K, you get a lot more performance out of 1440, right? Anyway, I did run some proper benchmarks through as well, like Cinebench, right? And also tested how this small little 14-incher gets around in Call of Duty Warzone when I turn all the graphical settings to the most maximum detail possible and use Raytracing and 2560x1440. So if you want to see how it fared, check out my benchmarking section, which is coming up right now. Alright, so welcome to the benchmarking section of the GA401, and as you can see on the left side I have CPUs up and running, and on the right side GPUs to record some information, and also we're gonna be checking out what the temperatures are going to do. My room temperature here is about 22 to 23 degrees Celsius, and as we can see the GPU temperature of the NVIDIA video card is 43 degrees Celsius. And AMD's graphics is 43, right? Because they're under the same heatsink pretty much, right? And CPU is about 54 degrees, but I don't know how exact this temperature is, because it is core temp and it's mainly made for Intel CPUs. Haven't used AMD CPUs for quite some time. Anyway, let's run our first benchmark, and then later we're gonna come back here and see where the temperatures actually went. So first of all, let's run a quick benchmark of Cinebench as well to see how the brand new AMD Ryzen 9 4900HS actually fares with all of other CPUs, right? So let's run the CPU test and also the single core, and let's see what the result is going to be. Alright, so the benchmark just finished here, and as we can see, the benchmark for the CPU was 125 Cinebench points, right? And for the single core, 476. And as we can see, it is pretty much on par with a Core i7 7700K here, which is pretty amazing single core performance actually. And for the multi-threaded, it's almost the same, right? 4125 points, which is for 8 cores and 16 threads. Now my 10 core 20 thread 7900X receives around 5400 Cinebench points, right? So wow, a real proper powerhouse of a CPU from AMD. And this thing is just freaking super slim, 14 inches. Wow. Anyway, let's head on to the next benchmark. Alright, so let's kick things off with Assassin's Creed Odyssey benchmark here, and let's head into the options where we're gonna check out what settings I'm going to be running here. But yeah, we can see AMD Ryzen 9 4900HS here with the integrated Radeon graphics. But we're going to be using the NVIDIA RTX2060 with Max Q, right? And I'm using 445.87 drivers here. And as it is a 2560x1440 resolution monitor here, then yeah, it's gonna be a little bit lower frames than we could get when we're gonna be, if we would use 1080p, right? But I'm gonna be using it at native. It's much sharper, right? The image is so much sharper, even on 1440p already. But yeah, these are the settings. So anti-aliasing is off, and everything else is on the most highest setting possible. So of course you can tweak around here and maybe find the best situation for you, but this is what we're going to be running on this laptop here. So let's check it out. Alright, so up on the corner I do have my frames per second as well, and also here, and as we can see, around 30 to 40 frames per second at the very beginning here. But this is on 2560x1440, and dropping to 20s, to 25, 35, or I'd say around 30 plus frames per second. But totally runnable at 2560 at maximum detail. Although, I mean, yeah, it's not a great gaming experience at 30 frames per second, but constantly, I'd say over 30 frames per second. And we can see the average here as well. Average is around 34 frames per second. So, yeah, totally fine for Assassin's Creed Odyssey here. Just be sure to tweak some settings down to medium settings, I guess, when playing games, when playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on this laptop here. But yeah, the other thing is that it is just a 60 Hz screen, so we wouldn't really be benefiting in more than 60 frames per second as well, right? And we're It's tough to get into the 60s, right? But it is everything on the very most maximum detail. And 36 frames per second as average. I mean, pretty decent considering it is 2560 x 1440p. Anyway, let's move on to the next benchmark and see how it fares there. So let's try out a game that really matters as well, right? Call of Duty Warzone, the most popular game at the moment, totally 100% free, right? And yeah, let's do a little Warzone match here and see how the game runs, right? And yeah, for the settings here, as we can see in the graphics section here, everything is going to be as maximum as possible, right? So the highest detail possible. And also Raytracing is going to be enabled here as well. So this should be pretty interesting on how good it runs, right? And yeah, of course I'm going to be using the 1440p resolution as well, right? Anyway, let's check it out how it runs. Alright, so 67 frames per second. What? Are you kidding me? Okay, 48, 50. This is totally fine to play with ray tracing turned on. Wow, I definitely wasn't expecting this. So we have 42 seconds here to do some killing, hopefully. But I mostly am going to be doing the other part, the dying part. But Jesus, the game looks so crispy clean with the 1440p resolution. It's so good. And 60 Hz is nothing to... Where the heck... What? Who's shooting already? But the game looks so good. Oh my god. On this small, tiny 14-inch laptop, right? Alright. Okay, so... Oh, there they are. God damn it. God damn it. I got him! I think I got him. Let's turn the music down maybe a little bit. Some easy quick access buttons here, which is really nice. But yeah, second, let's see, 49 to 50 frames per second here. I am recording at the moment, but it doesn't take any frames per second. But Jesus, 50 frames per second, totally fine to play. And everything on maximum detail on 1440p, that's amazing. And I guess that's all to do with the Ryzen 9 4900, right? Which has 8 cores, 16 threads here. So it gives a lot of power to play with, right? Let's got our parachute here. And maybe do a quick little kill as well. But I doubt it. Let's see. It is a bit hot, but that's, you know, a regular thing with most laptops nowadays, right? Nothing too burning, but I do feel the heat coming here. But mostly, as the new Zephyrus has ventilation holes here as well, most hot air is going off from there, which is pretty nice. But I do feel hot air coming from here, which is kind of... I'll play like this maybe. But man, totally fine to play some Call of Duty Warzone here with this Zephyrus here, right? Let's do some shooting. Let's do some random shooting, right? Yep, totally fine. Around 50 frames, near 60 frames per second. I guess you can get a lot more even, but you don't really need over 60 frames per second as it is a 60 Hz screen. Maybe this is the only small little letdown that it could have been maybe 144 Hz screen, right? But yeah, Jesus, this is how it runs here. Anyway, let's do a quick little test in Fortnite as well, because that's also a really popular game, and see how it runs there. But anyway, let's see if I can kill him. Damn it! No! Not no! No! My ammo ran out. Come on. Okay. Alright, so let's finish things off with Fortnite here, and yeah, as you can see in my settings menu, I have 2560 x 1440 and everything turned to most maximum detail possible. So let's just run a game and see how I do here. And let's do a solo run. Alright, so as we can see, 5860 frames per second on the starting island here, and oh my god, again, the 2560 x 1440p on this small 14-inch screen is just so crispy clean. nice quality. Oh my god, and everything turned to maximum detail and locked 60 frames per second. Goes to around 52 here at the moment, and there's some shooting and dancing going around everywhere, right? But totally fine frame rate for competitive play, right? Maybe not the best, because the best would be like 120, 144 hertz screen at those same frame rates, right? But 66 here in the bus, looking down on the ground here. 62, 63, let's jump off here. And yeah, totally fine to play here, totally enjoyable. So an absolute perfect small form factor ROG Zephyrus G14 laptop here. That's perfect for the most popular games out there, even on most maximum detail, graphical detail possible. Yeah, of course it's not over 60 or over 100, right? But it is exactly 60, I'd say, right? And it wouldn't really drop any below. Well, okay, 47. So 40 to 60 frames per second. Of course, you can mess around with the graphical settings, right? And maybe take a little bit lower detail settings, right? So we can actually like let's actually put the most lowest detail. Apply. Let's see what our frame rate does. And 120. So if it would have been a proper 120 hertz panel, right, which this model actually you can buy a 1080p model that has a 120 to 144 hertz screen, and then you can actually use 100 to 120 frames per second, so almost fully utilize 120 to 144 hertz screen on the lowest settings, but we're still at the maximum resolution, right? On 1080p, I guess we get a lot more even. But anyway, I'm not gonna mess around with that. I'm gonna leave it at maximum detail here. And yeah, as you can see, totally fine to play all sorts of video games. So yeah, anyway, let's quickly check out what the temperatures have done as well, because we have been gaming a lot here. Well, not as much, right? But we should see, you know, what the exact temperatures were, the maximum temperatures were when we were playing games, right? Did it hit 100 degrees or not? That's the question pretty much. Alright, so back at the temperatures here, and as we can see, I already clicked on the maximum temperature here, and the maximum temperature for the RTX 2060 was 87, so well below 100, which is really nice. 80 something plus is totally fine. For, you know, RTX 2060, that is in a small thin 14-inch laptop, right? And well, can't say the same, well, almost the same for the GPU, which is pretty much what the CPU temperature would have been, right? So the AMD GPU, which is integrated in the CPU, it went to 92 degrees, and core temp shows 107 degrees. I don't know how exact that is. I know some people are talking about like it adds like 10 degrees here or something like that. That would be a little bit more believable, but I'm gonna assume like all the cores went to around 92 to 95 degrees, right? And maybe some core peaked at 100 degrees, right? So it's pretty hot, right? But it is a really thin laptop, a really slick and nice looking laptop. And yeah, this is how the benchmarks were and how hot the laptop went. Anyway, I'm really impressed with the laptop power-wise, and you know, I really like this laptop. I really do. But there are some things to maybe improve. Like, where's the frick is this hinge? How am I supposed to open this laptop like this? It's almost impossible. Alright, so as you can see from the benchmarks, this thing is a real proper powerhouse. I still can't believe it's just 14 inches. It looks so... oh my god, I need to sleep with it. Wait, that sounded really wrong. Anyway, yeah, it is a real powerhouse that can run pretty much any application that you throw at it, any game that you throw at it, right? It's almost future-proof, like next-gen game-proof, right? 2060, of course, isn't 2080 Ti or something like that, right? But for a small little 14-incher, it's a pretty decent video card to have. With a proper Ryzen 9 4900 HS, which is literally almost like my 7900X in my desktop PC. It's just absolutely mind blown, right? But anyway, let's move on to some other things. And yeah, it is worth mentioning that the cover of the LCD panel is from magnesium, while the whole other half is from this very nice soft material. It feels just so good putting your hands on it. ASUS is also adding something called the anime matrix display to the model, but it is optional as I understood, and my review model here did not have it, but still had the holes on the back of the LCD cover. I was a little bit confused as why it wasn't working until I found out not all are going to have it. I mean, just have the LCD back panel without the holes if you are not going to put the anime matrix in it, saves the confusion part. But anyway, if you do get it with the anime matrix display, as I've seen on the internet, it's a pretty cool little feature, a small little extra on top of everything else that is in it, right? Although you can't really see anything that you put on it, but you can definitely, you know, sit around in a coffee shop or something and, you know, put some memes on the back of the LCD screen or whatever is in your mind, right? That's pretty cool actually. So I mean, in short, the Zephyrus G14 is a true laptop in every word. It can run pretty much every task you throw at it with great performance, while at the same time this thing weighs just around 1.6 kilograms and is just a super thin 14-inch laptop. Now, coming to some things that I actually found a little bit frustrating and I didn't like about this, of course, was the power block positioning, but that's like, you know, it's not that big of an issue, right? But what was an issue is this. I can't open it. Where is the hinge for my finger? I mean, who on earth thought it was a good idea to not include a clip for the LCD screen edge? It is super frustrating to open it with a finger, which otherwise would open no problem without moving the laptop. I feel it is a pretty big misjudgment here, but maybe they can somehow still find time to add it in the retail versions, right? Another thing I found out that was a little bit odd was the total absence of any webcam. We are living in times where, you know, working from home is something to consider, right? And sadly, yeah, no webcam in the Zephyrus G14, so no video goes before you buy an external USB webcam. And yeah, quickly coming to the keyboard for a second, I am kind of sad to not see an RGB keyboard here. I think ASUS's Aura Sync would have been a great fit here, but it is just a white LED keyboard here. Thankfully though, the keyboard itself is very good to use and even has some pretty well thought out buttons like the ROG Armory Quick Launch with volume controls. A bit funny to see is a mic mute button here where the laptop itself has no webcam. And lastly, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the battery, right? I did some proper benchmarking there as well, and I ran a 4K YouTube video, pretty much something that you would do, right, on battery power, right? You surf the web, surf YouTube, right, watch different kinds of videos, and I was able to get exactly 5 hours of battery life out of it when just watching a 4K YouTube video. It might vary a little bit here and there, like what exactly are you doing on battery power, but that should give us a pretty decent idea how it will perform, right? And I did try out gaming as well, but it wasn't really an enjoyable experience. I don't know if you can actually disable this feature, but whenever you go on battery mode, right, the frame rate locks out at 30 frames per second, and it is really uncomfortable to play on 30 frames per second lock rate. I mean, definitely doable with some games, right, but with Call of Duty Warzone, it wasn't an enjoyable experience. But I did try out how long the battery lasts like that, and it lasted about exactly 1 hour. Anyway, yeah, what's my final verdict going to be? I'm gonna give the Zephyrus G14 a decent 9.5 out of 10. There's literally nothing really bad to say about it, except for, you know, adding a small little hinge here to make it a little bit easier to open the laptop, and maybe set the plug for the power to the back side of the laptop, right, on the left or right edge, right. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. I mean, a really well thought out laptop, right? And yeah, for around 1,500 euros or dollars, right? I mean, this is literally the most amazing laptop that ASUS has ever done, in my opinion. And I really, really love it. I would take it as my daily laptop if they would be generous enough, but I guess I need to send it over to the next person so that they can, you know, actually review it. But anyway, yeah, if you're looking for a decent gaming laptop, right, then keep an eye out whenever this thing hits the store shelves and just buy it. I mean, it's just literally perfect if it, you know, suits your needs, right? Maybe you want a bigger screen, I don't know, but 14 inches for a laptop is the perfect size in my opinion. Anyway, that's going to be it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope I didn't leave anything too major out of it. And yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like, and if you have any comments, you know, leave them down below in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed, maybe, you know, subscribe as well. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. See you guys later. Ciao for now.